Welcome to episode 13 of the Alt-ernative Podcast, to our 30 subscribers. So here we are. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. And here we are. I think our first topic of discussion today is going to be Rishi Sunak. He's the new PM in the UK. After Liz Truss spent 6 weeks, Britain's shortest ever Prime Minister. Is it 6 weeks, 44 days? Which, it was a bit of a shambles of an appointment, I think, by the Tory party. But what are your thoughts on Rishi Sunak, Cam?
Mixed opinions. Just on Liz Truss as well. She got outlasted by the lettuce, which I thought was quite funny.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I remember because I didn't even know what this lettuce thing was about, and then when she resigned as Prime Minister, it came up. Everyone could start saying, "Oh, the lettuce lasted longer than her." So I just had a quick look on YouTube because I thought there'd probably be a video of this lettuce somewhere. And then the lettuce was like having a party, had like bottles of champagne around it with other like carrots and bananas and stuff.
It's a proper British thing to do that.
Yeah, I thought that was all funny.
But Rishi Sunak, I'm definitely okay. I get it. It's good that he's the first person of colour to be Prime Minister. I think he's 42. He's the youngest there's ever been. He's young. He's coloured. It's all very breaking all the records or whatnot. But he's twice as rich as King Charles. He's married into a family who's richer than like most people. He's one of the richest men in England, I think. His father-in-law is. And
in England or India?
In India.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I say England? Yeah, I meant India. Yeah. So there's a few things, and then obviously he's in the World Economic Forum. There's a few things pointing to the global. He's a global elite, and he's in power of England, and he's trying to push the digital currency to make sure, and it will be centralized, right? So he's going to make sure we're all
CBDC
fully controlled, so they can monitor everything we're buying and how we're spending, and it's all, like we've said on a number of podcasts now, it's all pointing to this same direction of the global elite's takeover. I even feel like Liz Truss was always going to be sort of a temporary measure to get Rishi in, a route to get Rishi in, because obviously the people didn't vote for Rishi. What?
The people of the UK?
Yeah, there's not been a vote for the Prime Minister.
For Liz or Rishi.
Yeah.
Voted for Boris, yeah.
But he's kind of snuck his way in a way.
Yeah, he was like Prime Minister by default. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah. And it makes you think they couldn't have just gone from Boris straight to Rishi, because too many questions would have been asked in all sorts of different aspects of it. But to have Liz Truss there and let her slowly break the economy, break the British economy to such a point where they can put Rishi in, and he says, look, the only way we're going to fix this is by having a full digital currency.
Yeah, well, the pound has already increased to the level it was before Liz Truss announced those the mini budget. But I was thinking along the same lines as if they got Liz in as like somebody just to fuck shit up for a couple of weeks, then get Rishi in as like a saviour, and hopefully that will win the people over. Sort of like he was classed as a bit of a saviour during the pandemic because he announced a farewell package Everyone sort of felt secure and safe within there. It's only after the pandemic, public perception started to change. I think when they found out what his in-laws did, or who his in-laws are, not what he did. And yeah, now he's in power. Definitely, he's going to be pushing for this centralized digital currency. So we will be probably seeing a social credit system in the UK within the next 3 to 5 years, I'd say.
3 to 5 weeks.
Now, I don't think they'll bring social credit in as soon as digital currency comes in. I think they'll convince everyone to use digital currency first, then start bringing in these measures as if it's there'll be some big thing that's happened, and they have to bring these measures in, and they're going to control those measures through the digital currency.
Yeah. We're watching it all play out in front of us right now, though.
Yeah, watching the beginnings of this. The pandemic was probably the start to sort of crash the pound, and other countries just printing money for fun, crashing all these Western currencies.
How far off do you reckon we are by saying, because King Charles is part of the World Economic Forum, as soon as the Queen passes, this just like spiraled all of the political problems within England sort of took like a turn for the worse. I know they were going bad anyway, and it was getting bad and worse, but as soon as she passes, Mr. Charles gets involved, King Charles gets power, and now we've got a World Economic Forum leader as a king, and now we've got a World Economic Forum member.
Well, Liz Truss was a WEF member as well. I think to find a leader these days is hard to come by if not already in the World Economic Forum, especially Western leaders. So that's why I think any leader that comes into power, whether it's a Tory leader or a Labour leader, like Keir Starmer's in the World Economic Forum, it's all going to be the same sort of agenda. They're all following the same guidelines. So
yeah, but the people within the World Economic Forum play a different role depending on who they are and how much money they've got and how much power they've got. And Rishi seems like he's going to be up there.
Yeah, near the near the cream.
Yeah.
Well, out of everybody who could have been Prime Minister or has been Prime Minister, he's probably the closest to the global elites than anybody could really want. Well, nobody wants an elite running the country, really. But I don't know. I just feel like there's nothing. The government have got a lot of power and control at the moment, and it's easy for them to win over the population by doing a few nice things, but then something bad happens and then they take even more powers away from the people. I don't think anybody in government really is in it for the people. They seem to be in it for themselves or in it for their mates.
Yeah, for their community that they've built. So what do you reckon Rishi Sunak's going to be doing some drastic things whilst comes in? Because obviously you've got stuff like certain debts that people are in. Do you reckon you'll start seeing him wiping certain debts or
debts? What do you mean by debts?
Well, there's a big thing about student loan debt and whether or not that can get wiped. Would you see him doing something that drastic?
No, because it'll cost the government too much money. So one thing, I think he'll keep everything stable until this digital currency is ready.
Yeah. What do you think's his play into the digital currency then? I don't understand. Well, I get it. I don't understand how that change can be made.
Yeah, I've not really. This is what I've been trying to think about today, actually, and I can't really figure out how it's going to go into that. Like the only way I can see them getting people to adopt it is by saying something like, if you pay for your utility bills in the central bank digital currency, I don't know what it's going to be called. I think it's already like pretty much set up, but I don't know what it's called.
Is it going to be called Bitcoin?
I don't know.
Have someone just taken the piss? Because I heard someone talking about Bitcoin.
I don't think they'll call it that. They'll probably call it something a little bit more formal.
It is a coin.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. So it says Bitcoin was a cryptocurrency that launched and based in the United Kingdom, traded initially on the Intersango, renamed Bitcoin Exchange Sango. That's true because it changed British pounds for coins.
Because I think the US one's called USDC.
Yeah, it's the Bank of England that are going to be running this. And they want the
No, they
Bitcoin.
want its own Bitcoin, so they want to release their own.
Is he not using the Bank of England to run this?
Yeah.
Currency? Yeah.
And maybe it is called. I don't know. I don't think it is. Just type in UK digital currency. I don't think they've got a name for it. CBDC means central bank digital currency. But I know the US have theirs. It's called USDC, which sounds like about right. Like it's like USD, but with a C at the end. Sounds like your mic's off.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was talking then as well.
Oh.
Yeah. CBDC. No, it does sound like it's going to happen very soon. Everything's pointing in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, the only way I can see them adopting it is by saying, I don't think I finished my point before. If they say, oh, you pay for your utility bills using this new currency that we've got, and it'll cost you, like, we'll subsidise it by like 30% something.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what they'll just do with everything is like, you'll get to a point where you can go and buy something and it'll be like, you've got this price or this price for everything. And
Yeah, when there's a bit of a
slowly
crossover time.
Yeah, everyone will start being like, well, fuck paying, like you just said, 30% more. Everyone wants the discount, and plus everyone's going to be. They'll start with the lowest sort of working class first to get them all onto it because they're the ones going to save the money, and then once they're on it, then they'll probably do something else to get the middle class on, and then.
Yeah, well, once the say over 50%, 60% people are on it, then you'll start seeing like Starbucks, McDonald's. They've already gone cashless, so they're all prepped for it. They'll just say, all right, we don't accept sterling anymore. We just accept the new digital currency. Then people won't be able to shop or wherever they want. And then say that increases everybody by up to 80%, then the utilities companies are like, no, we don't accept sterling anymore, just this new currency, and then everyone's in it really.
Yeah, they'll have to force us into it.
Yeah.
And it will work as well because what's everyone going to do? Like, we're reliant on so many of them companies for just our day-to-day life that they're just going to force us into this. back us into a corner.
Yeah, and they could easily do that just by utility companies switching to this new currency.
Yeah, they could actually do it very, very soon. What did you want to talk about these oil protests?
Oh yeah. So with Rishi as well, he seems like on a positive note. He's been looking into renewables and making the UK energy independent, which I think is a good thing, because if things like Russia, Ukraine ever happen again, well, it's going on at the moment, but it's probably going to take about 10 years to make maybe longer to make the UK like energy just like self-reliant for energy themselves. So yeah, he's talking about nuclear power and stuff, which I think is good, but we'll see how that goes, because I think he's more of a globalist than a national, wants to sort of protect the nation. He'd rather it be intertwined with the world and the WF gang and whoever owns.
Yeah, just it's dependent on which countries you're on about, because obviously they don't want to work with Russia. So yeah, it just depends on which countries they want to work with. Because US own the gas pipeline that's in Poland, right?
I'm not 100% sure.
I think they do. So it would just be sort of putting in plans. I'm just assuming he'll be putting plans in place to take the power out of the certain countries that he doesn't want, the globals don't want.
Yeah, and you can sort of see the world being split into two. You've got like the Western world, WEF gang, and then you've got the BRICS nations, so like Brazil, China, Russia, India. I think Saudi Arabia have been added onto it as well. So obviously Russia and Saudi Arabia are massive in the energy game. So if the WEF countries can solidify their energy and get that working within themselves, then they don't need to be relying on these BRICS nations anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, to take it all away, and then it's funny that you say that it'd be split into two, because that looks like it's the way it's been for a while. Well, it's not been split into two as such, but it's been us and them. So it'll only be a matter of time before China and Russia start linking up together. China, Russia, and India. Maybe even like North Korea might at some point. They can't stand alone. Like,
yeah, well, North Korea have like strong ties with China. That's why US have never gone into North Korea or like try to do anything with them, because they know China won't be happy about it. But then there's talks of China preparing to put boots on the ground in Taiwan.
Yeah, I've seen a bit about that.
Which that would be at a time where the West is very
vulnerable.
The West is very vulnerable at the moment. So, but I think China's quite vulnerable too, and maybe
I feel like the whole world's quite vulnerable at the moment. And do you not feel like, I don't know how to explain this properly, but do you not feel like the world's in some sort of like a stalemate at the moment, where someone needs to do something, but it will be crazy if they were to do something? Because what's happening with the West and the global elites and the rich are getting richer and more powerful, these other countries can't just sit back and watch. Even if, for example, if China is vulnerable like they are at the moment, they can't just sit back and let it happen. They need to do something.
Yeah, and I think they would risk their people going through struggle to ensure their dominance in the world, whereas the West is a little bit different. Whereas I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they wouldn't want their people to struggle as much as China would. I feel they'll just throw their people under the bus.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but even though the West is like, is it? I don't know. It's a proper mess at the moment.
You get what I mean, though, by stalemate? It just feels like everything's
Yeah,
just a
I
bit
feel like
riddled.
we're in a massive transition period, and there's going to be massive change. Like this next decade is the world's going to change. Like it's either going to change for the good or change for the bad.
Yeah. You say change for the good or change for the bad. The only two things I can vividly see happening is either the global elites become successful and then gain control over the civilians of the West, or they go into a war which turns out to be a massive disaster. And I guess it's just sort of riding on.
It's either going to change for the bad or for the bad.
Yeah, there's like, what do you call it? But there's nothing that's happening is good. We can't, like, we're getting these people in charge. Like, imagine what, say, I want to say 50 years ago, it might be a bit longer, maybe about 70, 80 years ago. You get a new prime minister in, everyone's thought process is a lot different than now. It's like, right, so we just got some rich motherfucker in to run the country. We can't believe shit he says. It's so weird that, like, at the moment when we watch them on TV, we just know that they're just completely lying and chatting shit. But it's just sort of accepted by everyone because that's just the way it is. That's so fucked that that's just the way it is that we watch them on TV. Even when they're running, they're promising all the good they're gonna do, and then we know when they come in power, they're not even gonna do like
You don't do
25%
anything.
of it.
It's true. Like we're in a position where you don't believe any of your leaders. You have no faith in the leadership of your country or any other. I don't have any faith in any leaders. I can't see any leaders in the world that I would put my faith in.
Yeah, and then it's sort of like this control when someone becomes control of a country and becomes a leader. It's quite obvious that the power goes to the head. So, what's the alternative? It's like another structure that needs to be set up.
Yeah. Whereas like I think Russell Brand is like calling for more like localized leaders. So you have I don't know how I feel like what Russell Brand needs to do is like just do like a 20, 30 minute podcast where he talks about how he would have a system in place. Because he talks about like local communities and having local um like localized leaders. But I can't see how it would work. Maybe a similar system to what the US have with their states. But we're quite a small country where
We're small but quite powerful.
I don't know if people need to be organised like that in this country though. But maybe they do.
Do you think it works for the states though? Even in that, well, they need to do it because of the.
But it sort of does because you're seeing people like during COVID, they had enough of the regulation in California, so they moved to Texas and Florida where the regulations were different. You've got the option to like, if you want to be in that bubble where it's like extra progressive and they're pushing these certain ideologies on everybody, but everyone agrees with those ideologies, then like fair enough, go and live there. But if you want to live in Florida, for example, where they don't push this ideologies and they keep quite a conservative stance on things, then people can just go and move there and live there. Like give people the option.
Yeah, but then yeah, the UK is definitely not big enough. I don't know, something like that. We do have population here though. The
60
boroughs,
million, 65 million.
to do it in the boroughs.
Yeah, just London has boroughs there.
What's it? Lancashire counties.
Yeah, that could work in a county, I guess. If the counties had their own, like you've got your actual, like in America, it's like federal laws, isn't it? Which are what the government set up, and every state has to follow those federal laws. But then they also give the states power to choose their own laws around certain things.
Yeah. Like the gun laws or the drugs, like laws on drugs.
Yeah.
They're all different, right? Yeah. That article that I sent, that alternatives to capitalism, proposals for a democratic economy. I think I've only read 1 or 2 pages of it, but I think in there they go over what you're saying about what Russell Brand wants, smaller communities that are led by local governance. So that'll probably be a good read to broaden our ideas around what else there could be, because we're only seeing what we know, and what we know we're not liking.
Yeah, well, we know it's not working.
Yeah. So we do need to look at these alternatives.
That's what kind of makes you think like we're in a period of change because we're coming to the end of what we've known so far as our lives as being a society. And society is always changing. So like society's been managed this way since after World War II. So what's that, 80 years?
Yeah, 40s, yeah. 80, 90 years. Yeah, so things can change at any point, so we could run a new system next week and it might only last 2-3 years before it needs to change. Like, I think as technology advances and just humans evolve in a sense, then change is required.
I remember reading something when I was at uni and it said, and it was like, society runs in cycles. So every 100 years there's a big war. And then after that war, everything like resets again, and then it starts again. Then you're on another cycle.
Yeah, was that in uni?
This was before.
Teacher that. I feel like I've been taught that in education as well.
I don't think I got taught it at high school. I think I remember reading it. I remember thinking there's no war on or anything at the time. I was thinking, like surely there's not going to be a World War III because the world would sort of. And now we're in the 20s, like 100 years there or thereabouts to the start of World War II.
Yeah, coming up to 100 years, yeah.
And we're in the first war since World War II to hit like European. Is it the first first war since World War II?
In Europe.
In Europe.
Should we have a Google? Yeah, there was a Greek civil war, the Northern Ireland conflict. These aren't a war on the scale.
Yeah, maybe like a territorial war then.
Northern Ireland was, weren't it?
Between two nations. It's not just Ireland before, and then after that, it got split into two.
To Northern Ireland.
Because that was more, I think it was a religious war. I'm not too clued up on that war. But I think it was a religious one between Catholics and Protestant. I can't say it.
It was the Cold War in 1948 between United and Soviet Union. United States, sorry, and Soviet Union.
Yeah, but they didn't actually fight each other, did they?
I don't really know what happened properly in that war. They didn't go to war as such, did they?
I think it was just like kicking off of each other, tensing the guns, and that's it.
Yeah, so maybe we are due a. Well, then World War One and then World War Two weren't that long in between them. What is it? Was it?
Yeah, but I think they were like pretty much the same war.
Yeah. Just like
Like if World War One didn't happen, World War Two wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. What is it that quote that Bill Gates says? The panty. He says, "I don't know what World War III will be fought with, but I know World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones."
Yeah, that's it.
It's crazy, that, isn't it?
It's mad. Wars are mad.
And yeah, but it's like ingrained in the human nature, in it, for war. That's what that book Tribe was talking about. Like it's part
of humans, yeah.
Humans to have war, because it's a part of, you see it in animals. You see it definitely if you look at like monkey civilizations or chimps.
But I think some level of suffering for humans makes humans better people.
What makes them stronger?
Makes them stronger and makes them better as well. Makes them respect the finer things in life, respect people around them. Whereas at the minute we're in like a society that's never, especially in the Western world, not really struggled much. Like we've had food and a roof over our heads, majority of us anyway, like so easily, where there's not been that level of struggle that previous generations have had.
Yeah, I think we've spoken about that before as well, where our first level of the hierarchy of needs are near enough sorted for us, so we sort of fast track up the hierarchy of needs, and we feel like because our first ones are met so easily that it doesn't actually exist as a need, because they've always been there. We've never needed them, we've always had them.
Yeah, you take it for granted.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the gratitude for them.
So, yeah. Well, I think you asked me about the Just Stop Oil.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because I don't properly know it inside and out, but it's funny.
Yeah, well, I've not like fully read up or researched it, but I've seen like bits of it, and I thought I'd just do a bit of like digging to see what the crack is. Basically, I watched this video, and she like glued herself to a Van Gogh, or two of them glued themselves to a Van Gogh painting.
Was it after they chucked the mashed potato at it?
Yeah, it might have been Van Gogh one, or it might have been who's the other artist begins with M? Monet. It's one of those paintings, but on this video, she was like screaming, saying, like, there's people starving. We've got food shortages. We've got energy crisis. People at home freezing. And then she started going on about stop using fossil fuels. And I was thinking, like, sort of goes against your argument a bit if you're saying people are at home freezing and you're telling people stop using fossil fuels when renewables aren't at a point where they can be in like.
Well, she's contradicting herself from the start when she's saying people are starving, and then she's chucking food at the fucking wasting food.
I forgot someone was commentating over it. I forgot who it was. I think it might have been redacted.
But I've not watched Redacted for a while, but what she was saying was in 50 years' time, these paintings aren't going to matter if there's no Earth. But I don't know. I get what they're trying to do. I get it's something serious that needs doing, but definitely with the ones where they sit across the M25 or whatever, the motorway. These protests aren't. I don't know. I mean, they're getting everyone talking about it, but people are more and more normal people are hating them for it, and they're thinking that this whole regime of climate change is actually like for crazy people because these are doing it in such a crazy manner. One of them I saw, was it Porsche? I think it was Porsche. They glued themselves to the Porsche showroom, and then the people at work there were like, right, whatever, and then just turned the lights off and closed, locked up.
Yeah.
And they were glued to the floor.
Turn the heating off and stuff as well. I think that's the best way to deal with this kind of stuff.
They're it to me it sort of shows what this woke culture is, because they're them people, them woke activists, and it shows how fucking crazy they are.
Yeah.
And they're just not, I don't know, they're just not going about it in the right place, in the right way.
It's like they're saying that people are like starving and people can't afford to pay the bills, but then there's sat in the middle of the road stopping people from going to work to pay the bills. So
ambulances, they're trying to fight too many things. Like they're fighting everything: climate change, fucking food shortages, inflation, all that shit. I don't know. It's just not the right way to do it, is it? It's just.
But then they're not really proposing any sort of
solution.
They're just making a fuss about. Everyone knows about climate change. Everyone's been taught about climate change. Climate change has been sort of thrown down everyone's necks in the for the past. Don't know. Since I've been growing up, anyway, I've always learned about climate change at school. Like everyone knows about it. So what are they making people aware of? Something that everyone already knows about.
Well, they're making people aware of a problem, right? Yeah, like you said, that everyone knows about. But that's the best thing that you've said, is they're encountering a problem by making another problem, rather than like pushing out a solution. If they had a solution and they were like, right, sit across the road, we're not moving until this solution gets put in. But there is no solution, because we would fucking be doing the solution by now if there was a solution.
But I think their argument as well is that the oil companies don't want the solution.
Yeah, because they're profiting way too much money. But they should do something bigger, like, you know, not to the average Joe who's trying to get to work, the average plumber builder that's trying to go to work, because they get paid by a job that they do.
Well, for example, I think if you disagree with something, find a solution. Don't. I know the taking on the oil company is massive, but if there's enough of you out there who support the idea, then try and do something about it. Get some engineers who are going to build like renewable places and privately set up a company to sort of fix the issue. But they're not really doing that. They're just making everyday people's lives harder, making a bigger problem than what needs to be, is turning people sort of the wrong way.
You're turning them against them. They're fighting fire with fire. So
yeah, it's like, for example, like Ben Shapiro. I know these activists won't like him, but he's against sort of this like woke ideology. So what's he done? He's not going out there like protesting and arguing with him. He's set up another media company that are making movies that have more conservative values than what Hollywood are putting out. So he's found a solution to compete with Hollywood. Hollywood's massive. Do you think Ben Shapiro sat there thinking, like, oh, I'm never going to be able to compete with Hollywood? No, he built a team around him and he's managed to set up a platform. It might be still in its infancy stages, but one day he's got the ambition to sort of compete with Hollywood.
Yeah, and he's getting all the right eyes on it, and he is getting people to open their eyes to what's actually going on. And then, because obviously you can buy Disney Plus or you can go on Daily Wire, and obviously Daily Wire's not there yet, but he's already done it, because he's done it to me, he's done it to people I know, that instead of signing up to Disney Plus, they're like, hold on a minute, like, I've been made aware from YouTube or whatever sources that there's a problem with Disney Plus. Do I really want to sign up to it? No, I don't. And I'll wait until Daily Wire gets a bit better, and yeah, I'll subscribe to it. So things take time, and these lot are just doing this like sort of to just gain. It's like they want to just gain attention. It's like a kid. Like they like remind me of little kids that chucking the toys out of pram because no one's listening to them. So yeah, they might have started like a podcast, and like, look at us, we've got 30 subscribers. They might be like, right, fuck this. Subscribers are taking too long to grow. I'm gonna go out and sit in the middle of the road. But imagine, I don't know, I must have seen 50 to 100 people doing this thing where they sat down on the road and stuff. Imagine getting all them people, instead of spending the time, wasting the time, sat on the road. Why not get them into a room and all of you work on a project like what Ben Shapiro's done with the Daily Wire, like what we're doing with Alternative. We're doing this with 2 people. Imagine we had 100 people
Yeah.
in our sort of team that, because they're putting their time over there, they can put their time into this. Maybe a little bit of money behind it to actually get it out there, and they can start pushing a proper professional agenda which people can respect.
Yeah. Pushing for something instead of against something. And it might be, it won't get as much media attention. It'll probably take maybe 5 to 10 years. And I know their argument is that we don't have 5 to 10 years because the climate issue is an issue now. But what are they going to gain from sitting in a road?
Yeah, well, yeah, from everything I've seen about it, I still don't know what to do. I still need to use my car, even though I work from home. I don't use. I'm limited on how I use my car. But if I was to be on my way to work, sat in that traffic jam, what can I do? Do you want me just to not use my car and not go to work and just starve and die? Because the world's built around this. It's not the average Joe's fault. We're living in the same thing you're living in. Yeah, we're not happy with it, but you have to play the game, or else you're gonna die. But then we're doing stuff like this, which is trying to push a certain agenda over, or trying to just create awareness for people. We're not hurting anyone. We're not pissing anyone off. Although we do get a few raunchy comments. But yeah,
They'll probably come off a lot more as we get more
yeah.
subscribers and views. So just have to bear with that.
Hit that subscribe button. Those are your raunchy comments.
But, yeah, I think like this conversation I've had with you has made me think about it. Like they're actually not fighting for a solution; they're fighting to cause a problem. About a problem that's already there, they're causing another problem, which people have enough shit to deal with these days. Like, just let people fucking crack on with their lives. And you guys go and put a team together and make a positive solution for the issue that you feel so passionately about.
Yeah. But they're obviously not intelligent enough to do that, and that's why they've sort of taken this road, because they're not intelligent enough to create something, or grow something at least. And I don't know, man. There's people that are intelligent out there that don't agree with the way things are going. And what are they doing? They're starting companies and trying to make sort of renewable energy, or
Yeah.
they're trying things.
It's like there's this guy, I can't remember his name, but he's set up a company in America where he buys generic medicines and sells them like at half the price that big pharma sell them for. I can't remember. Next time on the podcast, remind me, and I'll bring them up as an example. We can have a talk about them as well.
FDA approved.
Yeah, it's all generic. So when a medicine's made, it has a patent for so long. Don't know how many years, maybe like 10 years or something. And then after that 10 years, it can be generically made, so anybody can make it, anybody can distribute it. So he just gets those drugs that are...
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
And then sells them to the population for half the price, maybe even less than half the price.
Right, okay. That's not just medicine, is it, then, patents? They expire no matter what they are, right?
Yeah, any drug.
No, not even drugs, well, because it's kind of
patents in general, like tech patents and...
Yeah, because obviously Disney had the patent for, I think it was Winnie the Pooh was the oldest thing they've done, and that patent's gone up, so anyone can make any Winnie the Pooh content now. So, have you not seen what the new Winnie the Pooh movie looks like?
No.
Because the patent, it's called Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey.
Blood and Honey?
Blood and Honey. I've got images.
What the fuck?
So it's a horror film now.
Yeah.
This ain't no bedtime story.
Is this out or is that next year?
2023, yeah.
I'll actually watch this. It looks well funny.
So they're only allowed to do it now because the patent came up for Winnie the Pooh.
All right. That's well funny. It says 2022 there.
October 20. Oh, it should be out now then.
Oh yeah, Halloween. It's a Halloween movie. That. What's it on? Oh, it's not at the cinema.
It's on Netflix. Oh no, this is the live action lovable one.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. Maybe it's in cinemas then. I don't know where it's out.
Yeah, we'll find it.
I can imagine there'll be some people kicking off about it when it's out.
Why?
Because it's like fucking something that everyone loves. Because people like proper cling on to the classic Disney characters.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the hope for them. Right. Boston Covid-19 Experiment. I don't know anything about this.
You don't know anything? You never even heard about it?
No.
All right, fucking all right. So, I think it's Boston University or a university in Boston, a research lab. I think it's in a university though. They developed a COVID-19 variant, and what I think they did is merge the Omicron variant, so the very transmissible one.
Yeah.
With the first variant, the one that like caused the most deaths.
Yeah.
And they gave it to mice, and it killed 80% of the mice.
Oh shit. Fucking hell.
But like, why? My first question is, why the fuck are they fucking around with this shit?
That's what they do, isn't it? They just that's what the human species do. So it will be as deadly as the first one, but as contagious as
the
second one.
Omicron,
Combined, so more people will get it and more people will die from it. So, has it leaked?
No, it's not leaked. It's not leaked. But they just
XBB variant. Is that what it is?
I'm not 100% sure what the name is. But if you got an article up, you can bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, there's Forbes one here. So, gain of function experiments at Boston University create deadly new COVID-19 virus. Who thought this was a good idea? Yeah, it doesn't. I don't get why. Well, there's no need for it, is there?
This is the random thing to do. Like after there's a lot of allegations that it was already leaked from a lab in China, so they decided to fuck with it even more and make it even worse.
Yeah, 80% of the mouse died.
Yeah,
mice died.
So obviously that doesn't mean 80% of humans would die if it got released.
Yeah, but it just shows
it shows how
deadly it is.
Deadly it can be.
Yeah, because humans are probably more stronger to fight this virus. It's called the Omi S. It might grow 30 times faster than the garden variety Omicron strain.
I don't know what that means, grow. Does that mean
grow inside? Like
once it infects you, you get it, it multiplies quicker?
30-fold, yeah.
Yeah.
So if it multiplies quicker, then it's harder to fight off, right, the body.
Yeah, I assume so.
Everyone's going to be pissing around now trying to make the most deadly COVID. It must have been some sort of experiment they were doing, like, for a reason.
Yeah, but I don't. It doesn't really explain why.
Mm.
Do you think it's like this is like considered a bio weapon?
Sounds like it now. This is what it sounds like. This, like, I don't. Boston Uni are doing it, but what if they let it out into China or something?
I don't get why they would release this information out into the public realm as well. Like it's Forbes who are writing the article on it. It's not like it's just mainstream media talking about it.
Yeah. Well, it's all over.
Yeah, there's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprised you haven't heard about it.
Oh, it's 7 days ago.
I thought this gain of function wasn't legal.
Gain of function
Yeah.
was illegal.
Yeah, I thought it was illegal. I thought they made it illegal in America to do gain of function research. That's why they sort of outsourced it to China.
Oh, right. I guess anyone could do what they've done, though. I don't know.
But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. It's a fucking weird thing.
Yeah.
After
They're weird.
the pandemic we've just all been through.
Yeah, and then the way COVID came out anyway, or supposedly came out, was just...
Yeah.
This sounds like it's only a matter of time before it somehow drops out of view.
I don't know whether like, they release it to the news to make people like... It's another thing to be fucking worried about, isn't it?
Mm. Or to release it to make people aware of what it is, because it's might... Like they've only released half the story just to make people aware, because they might know it's already been released, so they might have shit themselves.
If that gets released, fucking hell, like there'll be uproar.
Well, then they'll probably have to lock us down if it's like killed 80% of mice and it's 30-fold. I don't know, unless they say that you had to scare us to lock us down.
Yeah.
COVID didn't work properly, so they're going at it again. That's the problem, man, is we can't fucking believe anything.
Yeah, you question every last thing.
Definitely since COVID as well, like the first round of it all.
This is kind of what I was saying though. I think in the last podcast, I think it's dangerous, like that they've got us to a point where we question everything and we're not believing anything. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, he cries wolf twice. The third time, there's actually a wolf, and when he's crying, he gets killed.
Yeah, like if a serious disease came out where we had to be locked down, like the fucking Black Plague and shit like that, everyone's gonna be like, fuck off. You've seen what you did with COVID, and it just ruined everyone. So no one's gonna want to listen to them. Because there are serious things that can still happen. And it's the same thing with the war as well, with Russia. They're making Putin out to be this maniac when they're the ones prodding him to make the moves he's making. But they're lying completely about this Russian war. So everyone's like for what's happening and against Putin. They lied about COVID. They lie about everything. And there's going to be something, a threat or a war. Say if China properly pose a threat to come and blow up England or go to war with America, we're all going to be like, well, why? What's really going on? Like, what is there? Or they have to go to China and fight. We're all going to be like, we're not fighting for your war. It might be a serious war. We're not going to go and fight for the war because of what you did in Afghanistan, what you did in Iraq, what you did in Syria. Like, you're going there to gain something. Like, don't fucking piss us off anymore.
They've lied so much. We're just like, just desensitized to whatever they say.
Yeah. So when there is a proper threat, then we're literally not going to care.
Yeah.
That is actually fucked. That's so dangerous. Like the moves that they've made.
And I wouldn't. Some of the population will still obviously care because you can see that some of the population still care about the issues that they're bringing to the table now.
Yeah. Well, massive population. We just feel like it's less because we're in to this side of.
Yeah.
The information we consume on a daily basis is different.
I'd say it's probably 30% of the population who think like we do. Do you think?
I would say less.
Less.
You got to think.
Question shit.
Huh?
People that question stuff.
Yeah, like think. Like us, I'd say like they've had their minds awakened or whatever. I wouldn't say it's 30% of people in the Western world. I think we think it because of the information we consume all day, every day, and then the people we talk to. We don't talk to a wide range of people on a frequent enough basis. But when I'm in certain scenarios where I'm with people that I don't usually talk to, like in a group setting or some sort of event, if I do talk to people and just drop in little hints here just to test the water out on where they're thinking, it's all like, yeah, Putin's a fucking maniac, isn't he?
All right, yeah.
Like, what's Putin's actual game plan here? Like, what's he want to achieve? It's all like that. And I'm like, well, he's just reacting to.
Well, the funny thing is though, like some people I've been speaking to recently, they've like, I've dropped hints and then they've dropped hints, and then we end up talking like about like fucking real shit, like what the stuff we're talking about now on the podcast. And I was in the gym today, and I talked to the guy who owns the gym. Like, don't talk to him all the time because sometimes like I go there to train. I don't go there to like chit chat with him. But I thought I was saying to him the other day, I've not spoken to him for a while, so I'll take my headphones out next time I see him and have a chat with him. So I had a chat with him today, and it wasn't like a deep chat. It was probably like a 5-minute chat, and he was going, he was talking about the war and all this shit, and I was thinking, fuck's sake, it's 6:30 in the morning. I can't be asked to talk about this right now. And then he's like, it's sort of like a massive part of me makes me feel like everything's like been set up and it's all the bullshit, all this stuff. And I was thinking, I didn't go into a deep conversation with him because I really couldn't be asked at 6:30 in the morning.
Should have showed him the channel.
So, but after he did that, I was thinking like, before I work, I was like, oh shit, like, he thinks it as well, and like, some.
Yeah, well, when you say 30%, I can't say if it is or not 30%, but one thing I can say is definitely 100% growing.
Yeah.
Because, like you've said before in the past as well, if you look at Redacted, I think they've got nearly 2 million followers.
Russell Brand's got 6 million now.
Just over 6. Jordan Peterson's got like 5 mil or over 5 mil. But just on YouTube, I think he's got a fan base like off YouTube as well. And then Joe Rogan, obviously. But I know Joe Rogan doesn't just slam certain things. He talks about like a wide range of topics, so his fan base will be multi-dimensional. Whereas Russell Brand's a good figure because he's someone that's converted to this side of.
I think Russell Brand's growth is a good figure because you can see. Like, we followed him for a while, like, where he was. Obviously, I mainly followed him because he was an actor and a comedian.
Yeah.
And I liked him because of that. And then he had that YouTube channel, The Trinity, I think it was called, or something.
Yeah.
Remember it?
Yeah. Oh, I remember you talking about it, but I don't remember.
Yeah. He mentioned it the other day in one of his short videos. So he's got one guy that he works with, and he was talking to that guy.
Yeah. This is new format, right?
Yeah, his new format. And that guy, I do have a bit of back and forth every now and then. And he was talking to him, and he was saying that you've been with me since like 2013, since we had the Trinity channel. I was thinking, oh shit, that's what it was called. I think it was called Trinity. I can't remember if that was the exact name.
2013. That's 9 years.
Yeah, but at that time he was like very against like Wall Street and stuff. But his ideology's changed a lot now. He's grown as a person.
Yeah.
He's been a bit more accepting.
Yeah. He's matured a lot, and probably a good lead into talking about Kanye West.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that as well, because like
we had an awakening.
Yeah, and I think the Lex Fridman interview, I know we're going to talk about it a bit more, but let me just pull a bit out from there. Lex Fridman says that Kanye needs to be more accepting and show more love rather than hate. Whereas I think Russell Brand, when he got woke, he showed a lot of hate, and now he's showing more love, and he's trying to accept everybody for who they are, rather than, and try and bring everyone together, rather than get a certain group and push back at another group. And I feel like in the interview with Lex and Kanye, Lex was trying to push that over to Kanye to be more accepting and not get one group hating on another group. Get all the groups together to push against certain people, individuals.
Yeah, so what did you think about the Lex Fridman and Kanye interview?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought Kanye was like very, his thoughts like all over the place. He was a little bit more direct, I'd say, than he was when he came on Rogan. But I feel like a lot of shit's happened since he's been on Rogan. I feel like Lex kept him very grounded, which was, with a character like that, I never thought him and Lex would make a good interview together. But seeing them together, Lex is a very balanced character and didn't let Kanye go too far that way. And always like pulled him back in. And there's one moment in the pod which I was like, oh fucking hell, like surprised Lex isn't just going to end it here, because Kanye starts like kick. Do you remember that bit?
Towards the end, yeah.
It's probably like the last quarter of the pod. Kanye's like kicking off at him, but Lex pulls it around, like stays calm all the way through, helps Kanye feel calm. You can see that he was upset when Kanye said he didn't trust him. Like when Lex was talking, I fucking felt bad for Lex. Like he looked like genuinely upset by it. Because Lex, he didn't do anything wrong, but Kanye, I could see where Kanye was coming from, because he was pushing. Lex was pushing the agenda that everyone else has been pushing on him, and he's fed up with it. Even though Lex is balanced, but he was just basically telling Kanye, like, don't say that because you're going too far. Like, when you look back at the Holocaust, it was a fucking dark time for Jewish people. Like, and you just need to remember that. Have some basically tell them to have a bit of empathy for it.
Yeah, exactly, empathy. Yeah. What I felt like was Kanye West. He's definitely on the right tracks with what he's saying, for the most part. But you need to look past the dumb way he articulates himself, because his points make sense. They do sound a little bit crazy, but I don't think he's crazy. I just think he's confused. I think he's very lost in himself. But he's a guy that, like, I think he said, was he 19 when he went into the music industry? And he's been considered a genius for all these years in the music industry, which fair enough, he wasn't a genius in the music industry. So how old is he now? He's like, must be
45, I think he said in the pod.
Or 45. So that's like 25 years of being known as a genius, because it was only shortly after he started, right? He was like at the top of his game, and he kept that rhythm going the whole time. And then he gets to a point where he realizes, like, the cars, the money, the girls doesn't mean shit, and there's so much more that's going on in the world that needs our attention, and we don't need to be focusing our attention on all this shite, basically. And he's a fashion icon. He's a genius within fashion, to a certain extent. And he's now having to restart and learn a whole new industry. And he's no longer the big fish anymore. He's now the little fish. And I think it's messing with his head a bit because he's coming into it thinking, in his head saying, I know like some shit's going on. And he's intelligent enough to realize that some shit's going on. But he needs to learn like the ins and outs of what's actually going on because there's so many like, what's it called? You know, it's like a maze. There's so many dead roads that you're going to go down in this industry that don't actually lead anywhere because of how fucked and how covered everything is and how many people have different opinions on stuff. It's so crazy, like it's ridiculous.
You're going to hit like a lot of dead ends and have to come back on himself to then find what he's looking for in the middle. And one thing, like, he's what you're right and what you're saying, like, he's been considered a genius all of his life, and then to be coming to like the political realm and still expects to be considered a genius when I know he's got these ideas, but really he's not a genius in this yet. But give it 5-10 years after he's learned and made his mistakes, then he could become a genius. But one thing Lex said to him, which I thought was a valid point, is you need people around you can trust, people who can tell you when you're going too far or you're doing something wild, just to keep him grounded. And I think if he worked with Lex, I think Lex could be that character for him.
Yeah. But he's so sort of, he's got we've talked a lot on the podcast as well about ego. His ego is extremely high. He's got a lot to work, he needs to do a lot of personal development on himself to bring his ego down whilst learning. I don't think he needs to bring his ego down because I think people with big egos are the ones that make a big difference. I think he needs to control his ego. Ground himself a little bit. Yeah. Have control of it, when to have a big ego, when not to have a big ego. Like those sort of things. He needs to be like, humble himself now and say, like, I'm trying to get into politics, but I'm not there yet. Instead of thinking I'm already there, I can be president in 2024. Well, you can't be because he's not ready for it. You can see he's still very raw. Yeah. But I do not think he's crazy though. I just think he's going through a very much a confused phase in his life. But he's definitely he's on the right grounds with everything. Well, when Lex asked him, he goes, it was about something that he wants to do. And then Kanye goes like, oh, do you think I can do it? And Lex goes, I know you can do it. I can see it in your eyes. So I think, obviously we don't get that feeling through the pod because a lot of the time I was just listening to it anyway. I wasn't really watching it. But for someone to say I can see it in your eyes, it's a big thing that shows he's got the determination to do it. It just he needs a team around him, I think. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how he develops as a person over these next few years. Yeah, I think because of our journey and the way we're analysing people, we're analysing Russell Brand just then. It took him 9 years to get to this stature that he's at. Them 9 years, we know he said stuff wrong, but he learns from it and he understands why certain things he said are wrong. We say stuff that are wrong in 2 years' time. Shit that we've said in the podcast over the last couple of months. We're gonna look back on and think, "Fuck! I wish I knew the shit I knew now back then," because that's the way of the journey. Kanye doesn't feel like he's not embracing the journey. He just wants to be there, and he's saying all these controversial things as if he's trying to make a statement that he is there now. But he's not, because he's a bit like Eddie Bravo in a sense. That he says the most fucking ridiculous things because they have a potential to be true, whereas he's not weighed up all of the other factors that go into something. Yeah, at the minute he's just saying shit to gain clout and popularity.
Yeah, I think we'll see what happens with him. It'll be an interesting sort of watch. I think from the interview I got that he wants to be like an Elon Musk character. He seems to idolize Elon Musk. He kept talking about him quite a bit, and Steve Jobs.
He idolizes engineers.
Yeah.
He needs to engineer his mind. But
what did you agree with what he said? Should kids only be taught engineering at school?
No.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that either.
Well, I went into the pod thinking, stereotyping him because everyone's calling him crazy. And I did get little crazy vibes off him in the Rogan podcast. So as soon as I listened to the Lex podcast, because I was like, Lex, I would love to see how he interviews this guy, because I'm liking Lex more and more when he has these challenging guests on, because it wasn't Zuckerberg, there's someone else that he had on which was a challenging guest, and he interviewed him very well. I forgot who it was. So, but when I put it on, and the first thing Kanye says is, I think schools should just dismiss everything and just teach engineering. And then when Lex's response was, they went through it a couple of times because he kept talking about history, and Lex was like, and you still think they need to take history out of school? They don't need to take history out of school, they just need to teach pure history, not just select history.
Yeah. That's the problem, though. I understand what Kanye's saying about only teaching engineering because it's just pure facts. There's no subjectivity around it. Whereas history, anything where there's subjectivity involved, is you can easily indoctrinate children with it. So I guess that's what he's saying. But then if you just train kids just to be engineers, then they're just going to be like robots.
Yeah, they're all going to think just subjectively and
I think they just think logically, and that's it.
Logically, and they won't ever think outside of the box because they're only tuned into a box.
Whereas I guess this comes on to our final question about philosophy. So Cam proposed the question, do you want to propose it?
You want me to read the whole thing out?
Yeah, read the whole thing.
Okay. Education is structured so people can't question what they learn. Should philosophy be taught earlier in schools to inspire children to question more? Should teachers need to learn philosophy before they can teach?
Yeah, so like relating this back to the Kanye and Kanye's point about just teaching engineering, I think some level of philosophy should be taught at school alongside logical thinking as well. Because if you just teach kids philosophy, then nothing will get done. Everyone will just be pondering. Also, I think as a society, you need to be sort of careful how much philosophy you teach them, because in a society, you need some level of structure as well. So I think it's a difficult thing what to teach children, because me as a person, I want to know everything, but a kid doesn't need to know everything. And if they got those questions later on in life, then they can go and find them out themselves.
Well, you got to relate it back to when you was a kid, because I know when I was a kid, I didn't think how I think today. But I feel like philosophy has pushed me to think the way I think today, and the way I think today is quite well. We do this; it's just a discussion, out of the box thinking. We just say whatever's going on, and we just tear it to pieces on the good parts of it, the bad parts of it, what it means, what could happen from it, what's led to it. We absolutely like decipher just a talking point. When I was a kid, I didn't. You don't know that that's an option, and obviously you're a kid, so you're learning everything. Say if you're 7, 8 years old, and you're taught maths, you're taught 2 + 2 is 3. No, 4. 2 + 2 is 4, and that's it. And it's like, we even in English we decipher books, but we still decipher it in a way where it's like, this is the true meaning of it. oh, this is what he meant by it, not what do you think he meant by it. The criteria to pass the exam. Yeah.
Like, yeah, go on.
Yeah, the criteria to pass the exam is, and he didn't mean that. And it's like, fuck you, man. This is English. This is literature. Like, it's how
how you as a person, individual, interpret it through your own like experiences in life. Like, and you've read that book.
Yeah.
How do you look at it, and how do you feel about it? Not this is the right answer.
Yeah. So that's where I think like that's why I put the question in, because when they were having the interview and he was talking about what should be taught in schools, I was thinking, fucking philosophy needs to be taught. And I know what you mean, like you don't want to teach too much so everyone's fucking walking around in the grass barefoot, fucking writing in their journals all day. But you want to teach enough to make people think, right, the teacher's saying something to you. You shouldn't feel like an idiot to say, but what about this? Or well, have you thought about that? And it should open up the schools to have these debates like we're having here, and teach people by having debates, like having class debates. Because I remember when I was in school, you couldn't debate. You couldn't say, well, what the fuck's that about? Or even I remember history, I used to enjoy history, but whenever I used to question my teacher, she always used to be like, that's just not right.
Yeah, and then if it's open to debate and the teacher's willing to debate with the student as well, the student's going to feel way more engaged than just being told stuff's written on a blackboard or you're being told to read this book. But if everybody's there discussing what they think about it and how they feel, like how it should be interpreted, kids will be the society have a lot more free thinkers in it, which obviously the government, this current government structure and our political structure we've got now, they don't want people to be free thinkers. That's probably why kids aren't taught it. But what if we had a society where people could be free thinkers, and would it lead to like anarchy? Like, would there be any structure in society if everybody's a free thinker? Because then they'd be like, some people agree with what's going on, some people disagree with it, another group disagree with it, and then everyone like sort of split. Would society be more diverse than it is today?
I guess that is something we will probably never know unless it happens, because I don't even think it's possible to imagine that world.
Or would it be
the world today?
Because everyone's a free thinker, they're open to hear other people's points of view and happy to get along with people with opposing points of view?
Yeah. I mean, it does sound like the ideal world in the sense that
the life's too complicated for such a simple fix. Like,
yeah, but I get it. The schools just want to generate people that, because the school system's set up so you go through school, you learn shit that is on the syllabus or whatever it's called, syllabus.
Yeah.
And then you go to high school, choose your GCSEs, then you go to college and go into depth in something, then go to uni, go even more depth, and then bam, you're out in your office, like your box office, doing what you've sort of narrowed down school to, that you sort of enjoyed the most and you can benefit the most financially from. And then you're in your box office doing that until retirement age, and then you retire, then you're dead, and it's like, bring the next ones in. And we're just going to keep pushing this engine of fucking slave labor and keep telling them, oh, you need a new car, guys, you need a brand new Mercedes, work harder and then we'll give you a promotion so you can get your brand new Mercedes. And that's just a wave of people coming out of the educational institute into work, and it's like the corporate landscape of work is just work harder, and you can get more materials, a bigger house, you can get this, but you can't think, you can't use your mind. You need to be fully focused on this and it's like you probably will be working like 18-hour days to try and hit the next promotion, to get the better car or the nicer house or the financial freedom that is so sexy in that part of the world. But it comes at a cost that, but you can't actually think. You can't use your head unless it's like work devoted.
like, I 100% agree, like, with what you're saying. Like, I prefer to not be stuck in that like system. Hence why we're on this journey. But I think some people in society like that security of knowing where their life's going. They know they're going to get the monthly paycheck. They know all they got to do is turn up to work at 9, leave at 5, have weekends off, go on 2 holidays a year, have a car, have a house, have a wife, kids, retire at 65. People like to know that that is what their life is and they've got some kind of security from it. Whereas I've tried it and it is, I could tell it wasn't agreeing with me. Like, just the way my mind works. Like, I don't like just being sat down somewhere being told what to do. So hence why I've stepped out of it and found a way out. There's a lot of people probably like me and you who don't like it. But are they trying to find a way out of it?
Yeah. Not
Like,
even
you have to
trying
take
to find
risk.
a way out, are they? Because it's easy to get stuck in it because of the security part of it and the fact that most people are materialistic, because we were materialistic. Well, I can say I definitely was materialistic. But then you come to a point of you start looking at the alternative way of living and you've just got to put in the graft of slowly detaching yourself away from what's pushed on you throughout most of your life. I mean, we're lucky because we're relatively young to be jumping on this journey. If you want to look at Kanye and the experience he's been through, it's going to be a lot harder for him to detach himself from that side of life that he had to the life he's going to be progressing now. But I remember, like, when I was in school, I hated school, and it was like, right, you finish school, what should we do next? I didn't feel ready to work, so I'd go to college. Finished college, still didn't feel ready to work, so then I went uni. Finished uni, then got a job, and I was like, but it wasn't a job in marketing straight away. And I remember whilst I was working, I was always like, well, this ain't it. Like, like, I need to progress to the next level, which was a marketing job. And then I got a job in marketing, and which I did my degree in. And then I was thought, right, I've hit it now. I've got my job doing that. And I was like, nah, this ain't it. And then I was thinking I need to get some sort of promotion or become like a manager here. And putting graft into that. And I was just like, this defo ain't it. But because I was doing my freelance work where it was all sort of my own work, I thought, like, this is it. So when furlough came and I had the security to detach from work and then go into freelance full time, it was only a matter of time before I was like, this ain't it. Like, it needs to be something else. Like, I need to grow this company. This company needs to grow. But then I was thinking, I've had this feeling like throughout my whole life of this ain't it. There's more. When in fact, it's not. I don't need more. I need less. I need to get out of that race and chasing.
Yeah, the rat race.
The rat race, yeah. I need to get out of that and put myself into something that I believe in and something that I can learn, develop, and help other people, and something community based rather than marketing. I do marketing, and it's not going to be something I do for the rest of my life because I don't actually agree with marketing because it's just fun. It's just advertising materialistic.
Don't tell your clients that.
They all know it anyway. Everyone knows what it is. It's just making people spend their money on a false sense of fulfillment.
I think for me, what I like about being like self-employed is everything's like on sort of my terms. Like, if I want to take that extra case on that, I take it on. If I don't, then I don't. Whereas when you're employed, like, and if I want to get my work done as fast as I can and have the afternoon off, like,
yeah,
my choice. But if you're at work, like, you get your work done by 1, you can't just fucking say, all right, I'm done now, go home.
Yeah.
You're going to have more work for you to do.
Yeah.
They won't pay you more for it, though. They'll
get
the same salary, but they've got more work for you to do. So why are you going to get all your work done by 1 when you get away with getting it done by 5?
Yeah, or even just letting that same project just span over the full week.
Yeah.
because there's no sense of fulfillment in finishing something, because it's like, all right, here's the next one. Whereas self-employment is like, right, I finish something, get paid for it, do the next one, get paid for it. It's the transaction's fair, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like transactional work, and the people that you're working for are essentially clients, so they're on the same level as you. Like they're giving you work, you're providing a service to them, they're giving you work. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to work with them anymore, you can say to them, I don't want to work with you anymore. If they don't want to work with you anymore, they say to you, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that.
No problem, and you move on to your next venture, or fill that gap with something else.
Well, one thing I like since I've made the switch, I've got more time to do like the things I actually want to do. Whereas when I was working in like the city, my commute was an hour, so that's 2 hours a day gone.
Yeah.
So I leave home at 7:30, get home at 6:30, almost 12 hours of my day just gone.
Yeah. And then you would be so tired that, imagine we were doing this. And we record this at 7 p.m. ish. But imagine you come home at 6:30, you cook or eat or whatever you're doing. Before you know it, it's about 7:30, 8 at earliest. You're not gonna. You might force yourself to sit down and do this, but you're not gonna do it with the open mind which you've got right now.
Yeah, you'll be knackered, and you're just thinking about going to bed and thinking about the next day.
Started all over again.
Yeah. But like I was saying anyway, back to the point is, I think some people find comfort in that kind of way of life, and I think without those kind of people, society wouldn't be as structured as it is. Even though we've made the choice and took the risk to pull out and do our own things, society wouldn't be able to continue the way we know it today if people like that weren't there.
Yeah.
So I think like maybe from a perspective, I would see it as like, I would like if everybody thought similar to me and thought free thinking and didn't just go to work and then watch the news and be brainwashed by the news, because the governments won't have as much control over the population.
Yeah.
But then from a selfish perspective, that's what's making the world go round at the moment.
Yeah, so it brings us back to what the sort of original talk track is throughout the last couple of podcasts is, this can't work in a capitalist society. We need to look at an alternative that will allow for free thinking and yet still develop the world, and just allow for people to get out of the chains that they're stuck in. The world the system.
So if I trusted big tech more, or tech companies, I would hope AI and robotics would fix the issue of people having to work.
All right. Yeah, but then they'll just kill us.
But then there's no need for people.
Yeah. And then the AI will figure that out. And then there'll be War of the Worlds.
But looking at it like a positive light, it would be good if AI came in, tech and robotics came in, did all like the jobs, service industry, manufacturing, all that was taken away. People got... See, this is where I don't know how to distribute money effectively.
Well, I think what you're saying sounds good, but it also sounds like the Great Reset as well. Where it's like you don't...
Yeah, that's when you fall in... That's what I mean. Then you fall into like social credit systems.
Yeah.
Which... See, when AI and robots is going to happen, so...
Yeah.
We can't think of like society now and try and think of a system that would work now.
We need to...
A system that would work in 15, 20 years' time when AI and robotics is probably... hitting or on the incline, maybe close to its peak. Obviously, this is what the WEF are thinking about, and they're putting things in place for when society does reach that point, then society can still continue, or if they want to get rid of, I don't know what.
They're playing the right game for what they want, because they are the global elites want the control. So that, they're working out where society's headed, where technology's advancing to, and setting up everything in order now. So in 15 years' time, when more and more jobs get taken over, because we're seeing it now, jobs getting taken, like lowest end jobs are being taken at the moment, but I reckon it's gone up a tier or so, because there's a few other jobs which are getting lost too as well. They're setting it all up so soon, there's going to be a gradual decline of jobs and an uprise of technology taking over, but then by that time their new system will be in place, so everyone they'll be the masters in control. They can afford to do it because that's where all the wealth is.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
Read that article.
Yeah, I'll read it.
Alternatives to Capitalism. I think we should read it and then have a discussion about the alternatives to capitalism again, because we had one last podcast, but let's do it again.
Yeah, maybe we should read that and read a couple more things and get other people's perspectives and try and figure this shit out.
Maybe we'll do a special, we just talk about that the whole time.
Yeah, because we can go into quite a bit of depth on it. There's a lot of shit I'm thinking about right now that I can't even piece together properly.
Yeah, we need to write some ideas down. Should we wrap this one up?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Cheers, guys. See you next week, I think. We're doing next week.
Next week.
Yeah, we're doing them weekly now.
Yeah, weekly.
Yeah, we're going back to weekly. For those of you who've been with us from the beginning.
Yeah. But
Or for those who've been with us since, when was the first one? August? September?
Our first podcast?
No, our fortnightly one.
Oh, right. September.
Yeah, so the majority of our subscribers came back in, for the majority of our subscribers, it was September. We've been doing it fortnightly, but now we're doing them weekly. So
yeah. And obviously we've got the book clubs as well, so check out the channel for the book club if you are listening.
And share this podcast with all your mates.
Yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe.
See you later.
Right, see you in a bit.